Did you know that many industrial facilities are losing tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars in energy wastage each year, depending on their size? And energy audits can actually identify this wastage and show how to plug the financial leak whilst also slashing and reducing carbon emissions at the same time. How industrial energy audits plug losses worth 5 to 6 figures a year. Proven strategies for energy efficiency. Welcome. I'm Bruce Rowse. If you're an energy advisor, consultant, or facilities leader looking to cut costs and advance sustainability, or even a production manager, you're in the right place. Today, we're exposing the power of the industrial energy audit, how it works and why it matters. So what is an industrial energy audit? So an industrial energy audit, and I want to distinguish this from a residential or a commercial energy audit. An industrial energy audit is a detailed evaluation of energy flows within an industrial facility. Think of a factory, a manufacturing facility, a processing plant, or similar. Its purpose is to pinpoint waste, identify efficiency upgrades, and uncover cost savings opportunities, all the while reducing the carbon footprint of the industrial facility. Now, energy audits in manufacturing can target complex systems. Think of systems using process heat, compressed air, refrigeration. Possibly they have extensive air filtration requirements. They probably have lots of electric motors, and they're probably using specialized equipment. Now, efficiency gains can range from about 5% to 30%, depending on the facility type and strategy. Now, audits aren't just a technical thing, they're also strategic. They engage leaders and can drive smart, high return on investment projects that improve ultimately the business bottom line and also help the business improve its environmental performance. And so why do industrial energy audits matter more than ever? So global industry accounts for a major share of energy use and carbon emissions. Now, with strict new standards coming in different places, carbon reporting, and the challenge of rising energy prices, energy audits are moving from a nice to have to a must do. So international agencies like the International Energy Agency and the US Department of Energy emphasize energy audits as a core compliance and investment tool. So operators of industrial facilities owned by multinational corporations are also increasingly required to report on and reduce their carbon footprint. And energy consumption is usually their main source of greenhouse gas emissions. So anything that reduces energy use will cut their carbon footprint. Now, exporters who also provide products into Europe may be subject to the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, or CBAM, which is essentially a carbon tax on imports. A manufacturer that can cut its energy consumption and reduce the embodied carbon in its products gives it competitive advantage and reduces the CBAM levies it may have to pay. Additionally, carbon reporting requirements are gradually being adopted by more and more countries, further incentivizing businesses to cut their energy use so that when they're presenting their carbon reports, they can show they're actually reducing their greenhouse gas emissions. It's also becoming easier for industrial facilities to actually reduce their energy consumption. Technology continues to advance. And you can think of Industry 4.0, ever high efficiency motors, which are already pretty high efficiency, but just seem to get better and better and better. The evolution of heat pumps, which seems to be accelerating right now, ever improving lighting technologies. And as AI comes in, AI analytics make it easier to identify wastage and quantify it. Certification credentials like the Investment Grade Energy Auditor, IGEA certification, which is only awarded to auditors who can actually demonstrate the ability to undertake an investment grade energy audit, give financial decision makers confidence that the advice being provided by the energy auditor can be trusted. So how do industrial energy audits reduce annual losses by 5 or 6 figures? Let's go through this step by step. The process of doing the industrial energy audit. So firstly, there's very importantly is the pre-audit planning and engagement. This is defining the goals, looking at the scope of the audit and the scope of the facility, collecting basic energy bills and operational data, understanding exactly why an energy audit is being performed and what are the outcomes that are expected. Secondly, we move into the data collection phase, which involves going through the site, collecting data, maybe installing data loggers, or meters and sensors, and leaving that for a time and then going back and collecting that data, analysing the processes, gathering granular system data, and really trying to understand exactly how energy flows through the facility. Then there's the detailed analysis, where you're developing a comprehensive energy use breakdown. You're quantifying wastage and you're mapping the different processes to understand how energy flows and where wastage happens. And then when you move into identifying opportunities, you identify what wastage is practical to eliminate. Now, there'll always be wastage. It's not always practical to eliminate all of it. And then you're going to be focusing on systems that are inherently wasteful, such as steam and compressed air. You'll be looking for opportunities to improve control. And you'll look at how operational changes, maintenance changes, and capital investments can plug these losses. Recommended upgrades could include things such as leakage reduction, lighting upgrades, motor drive improvements, thermal insulation, changing some processes themselves, how stuff actually happens. So that's process redesign, debt recovery. These are to name just a few of the investments that may happen. And then there's a reporting on the results and an investment analysis. What makes sense financially? It involves developing a comprehensive energy audit report with prioritised actions, paybacks, and risk analysis tailored for the financial decision makers, such as the chief financial officer, which is kind of the hallmark of the investment grade energy audit. Is it's really focused on coming up with a business case that can really be trusted and speaks the language of the decision makers in terms of those who will choose to invest. And then, really importantly, is the implementation and ongoing verification following the energy audit. Perhaps this might involve helping assist with project manager upgrades, tracking progress, validating savings by undertaking measurement and verification, and checking the savings against the projected savings. So I just want to go through a very brief energy audit, industrial energy checklist, which would include reflecting on what we just discussed, making sure that the audit goals are clearly defined, then reviewing the historical energy usage and understanding the patterns in energy use, documenting all energy consuming equipment, energy use breakdown, and is developed. And also you've got a flow of wastage, and you know where the wastage is happening. You're identifying these losses and wastage following a systematic process. And you're also then identifying savings opportunities, not in a random fashion, but also following a systematic process, such as one that I actually teach. And then the savings measures need to be discussed and refined with the appropriate personnel to minimize risk. So you're making sure that you've got measures that there's strong support for and the risk is low. And then you develop a report that speaks the language of financial decision makers, helps them move forward with an investment decision to undertake upgrades at the facility that will reduce energy consumption. And then there's an implementation plan that's agreed on. So if you go through all those checklists, you've done a really good industrial energy audit. So what are some common challenges and solutions with industrial? As with many energy audits, there's always the challenge with incomplete data. So how do you deal with that? Well, effective client engagement right from the start is really important. Ensure that you've got enough time actually to tap into, there's often not quite a lot of existing data, but it may be hard to get hold of. So that's it, partnering all with your client to collect that data, such as from SCADA systems. And you may also deploy data loggers to help unlock granular insights that can be important about exactly how the energy is used and where it's wasted. Some common challenges with many industrial facilities that have actually got quite old. This can be a challenge because it can be quite expensive to replace. This old equipment could include lighting, motors, pipes with pre-audit insulation, inefficient clarifiers, and all of these may represent good savings opportunities, but sometimes the payback can be quite long. So this is where you've got to look actually at not just the energy saving benefits, but what we call the non-energy benefits. And often these can be quite substantial, such as improved health or safety, improved comfort, increased production, fewer breakdowns, and so on, which can actually often be more valuable than the energy savings themselves. So it's important as an energy auditor, you identify these. Another area of opportunity that may be hard to tap, though, is the untapped waste heat. And again, it actually can be hard to identify this opportunity as well. But if you spend a lot of time investigating, you may find that there's good opportunity to have modern heat recovery in existing plants. In the EU, for example, there's an estimate that there's 2,800 terawatt hours of potential savings from making better use of waste heat. Now, it's not necessarily easy, but often it's a very good long-term investment to realise that. Then we have the challenges associated with outdated controls and sensing. This actually can be quite a good opportunity by introducing more granular sensing and controls that provide faster and better feedback, that provide operational efficiencies in addition to the energy savings. And then finally, there's the human behavior issue, which is often underlooked. Getting operators and people on site highly engaged through training and developing processes and KPIs, it can both actually save energy and reduce wastage, but also boost morale because it gives people perhaps a little bit more meaning in their work sometimes to realize that they're actually doing something that is actually making a tangible benefit for the environment. So some emerging trends that are helping enabling some of this include AI diagnostic, the use of digital twins, smart controls. I mentioned Industry 4.0 before, and these are helping making today's energy audits more beneficial for businesses and improving the outcomes from energy audits. So to conclude and give you some takeaways, industrial energy audits, the proven gateway to significantly reducing energy, typically with tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars saved annually, depending on the facility size, and actually in very large facilities, possibly the savings could stretch to millions of dollars annually. Energy audits pinpoint wasted energy. They reveal solutions that can provide other non-energy benefits that can be really valuable, and they can help quantify these benefits to enable strategic decision making. Now, when they're backed by having a strong certification and training behind the energy auditor, making effective use of digital tools, following global best practice, successful energy audits are actually becoming really critical across many industries. So if you want to master high impact energy audits that actually turn energy data and site inspections ultimately into advice that leads to real energy savings, you could consider becoming an investment grade energy auditor professional. And below the video here, we've got links to the free lessons that are available as part of the investment grade energy auditor training or energy auditor certification today, that is designed as a robust and rigorous certification, not necessarily easy to achieve, but one which really gives those who provide energy efficiency advice a strong foundation to be able to really help their clients move forward and cut their energy usage. So I hope to see you in this course. Thank you.